Hey everybody, you know me and you know Tim. I'm here in Tim's studio. We're hanging out. We've been playing guitar. Actually, my guitar's not even plugged in. Tim was playing guitar. And we were just talking about some hilarious stories, some things that happened to Tim. Because I always love to ask Tim, what are the most, embarrassing things that have happened? Tim has all these great stories about this stuff. And kind of like the Adele story that he told in one of the videos that we did recently. So, Tim, what was the Neville brothers story that you had told me?
Well, I got to do the Tonight Show with Aaron Neville, and this was the Jay Leno version of the Tonight Show. And those of us who've done it, it runs like a very smoothly oiled machine. You get there and you do a rehearsal and everything goes perfect, and then you wait a couple hours in the green room and you see some other stars or whatever, and then you do the actual show. The show is basically over at 6 or 6:30.
Wait, are you getting nervous though during this or no?
There are nerves, yeah.
Okay.
But when you do the rehearsal, I mean, they're so professional. The idea is you once you do the rehearsal and you realize, oh, we got this, It's great. We got this. So the song was Bill Withers. What's the classic Bill Withers song? I know.
Yeah,
Bill Withers.
Yeah,
I know.
He starts the song singing.
Yeah. Ain't no sunshine.
Whoa!
So we're doing Ain't No Sunshine, and it's awesome. Great musicians. Freddie Washington. Bill Schnee was in the booth. Running the sound. It was just really an amazing group. Jim Cox was playing keyboards. A guy named Steve Lindsay, who we all love, was playing keyboards also. He was kind of the MD for it. So Aaron Neville is singing Ain't No Sunshine, and we do the rehearsal. Dean Parks had actually played on the recorded version, but it was not available for whatever reason. So I was kind of subbing for Dean. So I did a really smart thing. I borrowed a great acoustic guitar from a friend of mine with a great pickup in it. Right? It's beautiful. And we did the rehearsal and it went great. Okay. So there's a couple of hours between rehearsal, maybe 2.5, and the show. And I put the guitar on the stand and walked away. What I didn't realize is I had left the guitar plugged in. Which,
for those of you that don't know, if you leave it plugged in, it drains the battery.
Yeah. So we got out to do the show, and then everything does have to go like clockwork because it's just like you see it on TV. It just runs. It runs. And we get up to play, and there's no sound. And there's a curtain in front of us. That's the thing. You're in the band, and you're getting set up, and there's a curtain, and all the most professional, dedicated people in the world are getting ready to do your thing and film your thing. And the guitar doesn't work. So,
Tim, what is going through your mind at the time?
Terror, fear. But the main thing I remember is that, the band is playing during commercials. And this is when this happens, basically. And they stretch it out a little bit. Well, they had to stretch it out. Basically, it was an infinite moment of fear. Because I'm stopping the entire Tonight Show. I don't know what I did, but this guitar has no sound.
So what do you do?
So what happened was it turned into this dream where I just heard the Tonight Show's playing, the band is playing, whatever they're playing, and I'm hearing it, and it's just going on forever. It's like time started to stretch. A nightmare that began to just stretch into an infinite, undefinable stretch of time.
Right.
The look on Aaron Neville's face. Now he's one of those guys who he was wearing a sleeveless shirt because he's ripped.
Yeah. Big
and
dude.
He's tall and he's strong and he's standing right in front of me looking at me like, who are you and why did we hire you? He didn't say that, but that was the look. It was like, I've got my whole life with great musicians and now this. I don't know.
Not this guy, right?
So Vicki Randall, who was the percussionist, she came up. They were trying to figure out what's going on. So the band was playing, but she was able to exit the band.
And the band knows they need to keep vamping.
Yeah, they know that there's a problem. Yeah. So they're just playing and playing and playing. And I'm sure Jay Leno's, I can't see Jay Leno's, but I'm sure he's sitting there going, guys, just let's get on with the show. She comes over, she finds out what the problem is. She said, I think I have a guitar in my dressing room. And she had a Parker Fly which has a piezo in it, which
Right.
sounds pretty darn
close
good
enough,
as
right?
an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
So she brings out the Parker Fly, and what you have is this. I have to search for the footage because what you have is 5 traumatized musicians and a singer who's probably really angry doing Ain't No Sunshine. And afterwards, there was no real attaboy, we understand. It was kind of like, man, that was bad.
Tim, there's got to be footage of this out there, right?
There has to be. And I had a fleeting thought that I would find it before we convened, and I told you about it, but that's okay. I mean, trauma needs to be put away, I think.
Everybody has these things that happen, though.
Yeah.
These kind of gig disasters.
Yeah.
That you fall off the stage, you step on a set list, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So everybody can relate to that story.
Well, I have one other one that I hesitate to tell because I could have done better in the situation, but here we go.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So Rick Springfield, he was my boss for a while. We did 4 world tours, and one of our openers was Corey Hart. And Corey and I became friends. You know, we really liked each other, and I ended up doing his records too.
Okay.
And he invited me to do a one-off at the World's Fair ground, whatever the grounds of the World's Fair in New York are. I forget what it's called, what that park is called. And do 3 songs at this big, giant musical festival for one of the radio stations. And so I learned the songs. I made the deal with the A&R guy for what I was getting paid. Got on the plane, flew in on Saturday, met all the radio people, had dinner with them that night. Corey was coming in the next morning from Toronto or Vancouver or wherever he was. And I practiced the songs in my hotel room again and again. So I was doing what I do, which is focus, practice on the songs, because I'm getting, it was a large audience, huge audience, and I wanted to be ready and focused and relaxed and, you know, deal with whatever nerves, you know, that's how you do it. You just a game, you know, you get ready for the game. And I was standing in my hotel room, which was literally across the highway from the park, the venue. And I couldn't see the actual venue, but I knew that it was basically the next piece of land across from the hotel. And so all day long, I'm looking at my hotel room, watching vans take band and crew, you know, the various bands and artists that were playing to the hotel. And I'm thinking, I should just hop on one of those vans and head over there.
I know.
Right? Because I should have done that, but they actually had a limo that was going to take me at 3 o'clock. Right?
Okay.
So at 3 o'clock, I go down into the lobby, and I'm sitting there with my guitar, and I wait for about 40 minutes. And I look outside, and well, there is a limo parked out there, and I look over, and there's a guy frantically calling somebody on the house phone. And I go, I'm the only person in the lobby. I have a guitar case. That can't be my limo driver because
he would notice
it's
that.
Obvious. I'm the only guy in the lobby, and I have a guitar.
Right.
So I walk up and tap this guy on the shoulder, and I say, "Are you looking for Tim Pearson?" "Oh, yes, yes." So this gentleman had moved to New York from East India 2 weeks prior. You know where this is going?
No. Oh, no.
And he was so relieved because we were already 40 minutes late.
Right.
Okay. So now you have to remember this was before cell phones.
Sure.
There was a phone
no
in the
GPS.
car. Yeah. There no GPS, no nothing.
Yeah.
There was a portable phone, not a portable phone, but a wired phone in the back of the limousine.
Sure.
So there was cell service. I didn't own a cell phone at that time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people didn't own cell phones.
So this is probably mid-'90s or so, right?
Yeah, even early. Yeah, earlier than that. I just can't remember. It might have even been late 80s. Is that possible? I don't know.
Possible. Yeah.
Once again, I've put it out of my consciousness. So he proceeded to drive me off into Timbuktu. And I kept asking him, "Do you know where you're going? I think it was right over there." He said, I've got it. We'll get there. And I'm dialing on the cell phone, on this dead cell phone in the limousine. And the scenery kept changing. You know, like a film at the beginning of The Sopranos where it starts, it's like one whole different locale, and then there's another locale, and then another locale.
Yeah.
We weren't even in the same universe anymore.
Right.
I didn't know where I was. I was maybe 30 miles away. I didn't know. And at a certain point, I kept thinking, okay, I'll get in a taxi, but he
He just kept going.
And he kept wanting me to stay there. He kept assuring me. That's what it was. Coming back to me now. He kept assuring me that he knew how to get there. And I guess, really, I didn't realize until afterwards that we were literally right across the highway. That was my mistake, because I had never been there before. I didn't realize my hotel.
So when you started, you were almost there.
Yeah, we were across the highway from the piece of land that the venue was on.
Oh, my God.
And at a certain point, the gig came and went.
Oh,
and we were still out there lost.
Oh, my God.
And I couldn't reach anybody. And I honestly thought that if I did jump out of the car and got into a cab, I would be later. Because we were so close to the actual... You understand, I watched vans all day go to the gig.
Yeah.
But I waited to this guy to take me right before the gig to the gig. So all that time was lost.
So Tim, you're looking at your watch, thinking like, "Okay, this is."
Yeah, he lost 40 minutes just not seeing me in the lobby.
Right,
and then he drove me far away from the gig, and I guess I was okay because I really didn't have time to make a plan B, and he kept reassuring me. Why wouldn't I think? He was the guy they hired. Why would he not know how to get me there? And eventually I just had him take me back to the airport.
Oh, my God. Oh, no. That was it.
And the A&R guy never paid me. It was like, you didn't show up.
Jesus.
And Corey understood. They all understood because he copped to what happened. They knew exactly what happened. So I was not blamed for it. But it really, you have to have kind of a military attitude when you're on the road. And I should have had a more, I should have put on my camos and gotten to the gig in one of those vans. I did a session once where, by mistake, I had my wah-wah pedal open all the way to the highest, the most skinny...
thinnest sound you could possibly have.
Thinnest sound you could possibly have. So we're getting a guitar sound, and everybody's trying to get a guitar sound. And I'm going, why does it... And I'm thinking, these guys have... This studio... It was at A&M, which is Henson, which is an amazing studio. Thinking these guys have got something really messed up here because
there must be something wrong with the mic pre's
or the routing. They're going through the wall wrong, or something's out of phase, or something out there. We're moving mics, we're testing all this stuff, and you got to remember you're with musicians who are getting paid a lot already. So the pressure is. It was a tracking date, I realized at a certain point, I went boop on the wall, and I went weird, and I went oh. And I think I actually skated because I think I just clicked it on and went, oh, yeah, we got it.
Sounds great now. It must have been a bad cable.
And then everybody was so relieved, we just went right to work. So those things you can kind of recover from quickly and easily.
That wah-wah again, Tim.
Oh, God.
You should know.
Yeah, and then you're right. Oh, yeah. So another one, Umberto Gatica used to hire me a lot. Amazing engineer, David Foster's engineer, and a great producer in his own right. Mm-hmm. And we were doing a session, and he was kind of at his wit's end because he said to me, Tim, you need to help me. I need your help with this. I don't understand. It's just not sounding right. It's not sounding right. And we had actually cut some guitars on a song. And I went, sounds pretty good to me. Maybe. Once again, I'm thinking, it's just how the studio sounds today. It wasn't my favorite studio.
Yeah.
And I won't mention it, but it wasn't my favorite studio, and I never really was that happy with the way things sounded at this particular place. I mean, he may have said, can you go out and look at the mics? And, he had placed the mics, which he's brilliant at, and, everything. And I go out, and I look, and I have two cabinets, and he's been recording the cabinet that's not plugged in. And so I'm thinking, this studio is... No wonder I hate this studio. It just doesn't sound very good. And he's going, well, Tim must know what he's doing. That's his sound, I guess.
His sound sounds...
Maybe it's the modern...
It sounds like it's coming from the side.
We hired Tim for the modern sound. I guess that's what
he's... the modern sound.
But then at a certain point, it was kind of like, okay, you got to help me out here. You got to help me. I don't know what's going on, but I need your help really, really
unplugged
badly.
Cabinet, Tim.
I took the cable, and I plugged it into the cabinet that had the mics in front of it. And we started again.
When I was in a band one time, I was in this band, and we had this gig a gig came up with this club called Brownies in New York City, and they called us, and it was my old band, and we had only been together for about 3 weeks, right? And but we had this demo that we had made in a studio, and all these A&R guys were calling me, "Oh my God, your blue demo is amazing." So this guy calls me from Brownies, like, "We have a gig, we had a cancellation, do you want to come and play?" So we drove from Atlanta to New York City to play. And every A&R person, there must have been 10 labels that were there. And one of my friends, Jim Phelan, I don't know if you ever knew Jim Phelan. So Jim
is, yeah.
Old friend of mine, he was head of A&R at A&M. He came with one of my best friends, Dave, brings Jim down. But everybody had heard these tapes and everything. So we get to the club, and the sound man that's normally there is sick. So you have some substitute sound guy. So it's our turn to play. We go up, and we start playing, and you can't hear anything. Monitors there's no monitors, right? We're playing, and then the third song in, the guy comes up, and he forgot to put a snare mic up, right? So there's no snare mic, and this was such a disaster, but I couldn't really tell because we didn't have any monitors or anything, so we really couldn't tell how bad it was. So anyways, my friend Nick Ferrara, who's a lawyer, comes up and he was like, well, he goes, maybe we should talk tomorrow about it. And then my buddy Dave comes up with Jim Phelan, and he comes up and he's just shaking his head. And I said, how was it? And they said, well, to quote Jim, who came with me, I've seen worse. It was absolutely the most dreadful thing ever. And then it was like, okay, we were basically dead in the music industry. And we ended up getting a record deal a year later, but we had to go and make a record on our own and everything. Goes to show you, though, that don't take gigs when you're not prepared.
Absolutely.
But you never know with these things, right?
No.
There's guys, that was just fate. It wasn't meant to happen then.
No. And it's adversity out there. It never sounds the way it's supposed to. You're dealing with some kind of adversity out there live, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a great story about Rick Springfield. We had a Spinal Tap moment where we were at the Budokan in Japan doing multiple nights, which is the biggest venue in Tokyo, or was anyway. And every rock band has a grand entrance. The opening is the most...
That's why Spinal Tap works.
Right. It's the most important moment in a lot of ways, just those first few seconds when the lights come on. And so we get on stage, and it's full, and I think there's some kind of intro music that's playing and some smoke. Well, the technicians at the Budokan had overdone the smoke to where when the lights came on, there was nothing to see except smoke. And I couldn't see, not even see my guitar that I was holding. And so we're playing the song basically blind with smoke. I mean, certainly couldn't see this far away. Jeez. Not only the first song, but the second song. It's just completely, the audience is seeing nothing but a great cloud.
Did Stonehenge come down then, or what?
I mean, that was something that we were laughing so hard. And then finally the reveal when the smoke cleared and the audience is grateful to see us.
Yes.
We're so grateful to see them. It was just amazing.
So Tim, why is it that those are the things that you end up remembering for the rest of your life? For me, it's always the funny things, the absurd things. You don't remember the great gigs, or I don't remember the great gigs. I remember just all the funny stuff that happened like that.
It's just, you can't, I mean, because you can pretty much control most things in life. Mm-hmm. And when you lose control, it's great. It's just great.
Yeah.
In retrospect, no matter what you're going through or how hard it is. I mean, when I didn't make it to Corey's gig and I told my wife, she thought I had messed up somehow. I mean, she was mad, And then I was like, honey, no, I didn't. What do you mean you couldn't get to the gig? Another thing happened on Rick's gig that was amazing. We were near the end of a tour, and we were in Phoenix getting ready to play after the sound check. And after Phoenix comes L.A., which is 5 nights at the Universal Amphitheater, which is all the people that you know and all the people that some famous people. It's the pressure gig, the gig that you're kind of waiting for. And it was the end of the tour this time. So I'm in Phoenix, and we do our sound check, and I go back to the bus. And you know how buses, there's steps up into the, you walk up. So you open the door, walk up to the first step. I close the door, but as I'm closing the door, I balance myself on the step with my thumb sticking out the door.
Oh my God!
So, and you know what a bus door is like?
Yeah.
It's flush metal with no gap. There's no gap either.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I basically slam the bus door shut on my thumb.
Oh my God!
Totally shut. Click. Sealed.
Oh my God!
And so then I open it back up, and it's crushed. You know, the nail and everything. So straight to the emergency room. I go there. They look at it and go, "Yeah, you crushed your thumb. We'll bandage it up for you. Send me back." And so all these thoughts are going through my head. They're going to have to do it without me. What am I going to do? They wrapped it in a big white, ball. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I took the pick, and I just played light as a feather with this big white ball that was around my thumb. No. And I got through the gig with a crushed thumb. And it was like I just used my forearm and this big white ball of a bandage, and the pick held and did the stuff I was supposed to do. Got through the gig, and we were able to do the Universal Amphitheater and all those nights in a row. But the moment when it happened, it was like, oh no.
Of all the times.
The worst. Yeah, it's not like we're going to the Midwest where maybe to us it's not the people we know. It was this was the big gig was coming up. The big run of gigs was coming up. So
Tim,
until we meet again.
Great hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for coming to California for a minute.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
That's all for now. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're a first-time viewer, ring the bell. That'll let you know when I go live and when a new video comes out. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. That's very important. If you're interested in the Beato book, go to my website at www.rickbeato.com. Follow me on Instagram at rickbeato1. Check out the new Beato ear training program at beatoeartraining.com. And if you want to support the channel even more, think about becoming a member of the Beato Club. Thanks for watching.